Random things. 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 Hello, this is Hakon with another episode of Hakon's Random Things. A series in which I talk randomly about random objects or things. It may also at some point be concepts or words. I'm not ruling that out, but at the moment I'm doing things and objects. And today's random thing is this. This is it's a personal military field torch. It was sold as a Norwegian army issue torch, but this is definitely the same or that they use in Switzerland. This is a Swiss personal military field torch. And I'll give you, I'll show you some more details about this. I'll just put this down on my table and move the camera a little bit. So, show you some of the features. First of all, it is in a nice military green, sort of almost brown, olive brown color, somewhere between olive green and olive brown, which is the standard military color for the Norwegian army, for instance, for their objects, their cars, etc. Metal casing, which of course causes its own maintenance problems with rust, but at least it's quite durable. Plastic glass, which I presume is quite strong. It seems like the same kind of plastic you'd expect to get in a car headlight. So some impact resistance, I presume, but not great. This being a military torch, it has a special feature that you wouldn't find on a normal torch usually, and that is it's meant to be used for signaling. So in addition to having a normal light, it also has, I'll just show you the light, there we are. Oh, it's quite bright there. And it's got a continuous, I'll show you the switch right away. Continuous light or momentary light on this side, so you can do your Morse code or other kind of signaling. So as a military torch, you need to be able to do color signals. So you've got a red light and a green light, and also, which can be quite useful to dim the light, is to use both filters at the same time. Red and green being complementary colors, they also actually block out most of the visible light, and if you are in a very dark place, you can still use this to see by, but you are less likely to get spotted by your enemies. So it does have quite an interesting and useful purpose. The red light, I'll just tell you about that right away. As you probably know, getting your eyes adjusted to night vision, to seeing things in the dark, takes quite a long time. It might take as much as half an hour to actually, or maybe even longer, I'm just guessing now, to gain your full night vision out of your eyes as they adjust to the darkness. And if you just get exposed to a few seconds of a bright white light, it can ruin your night vision really quickly, and you have to start all over again, because your eyes, they try to default to day vision, and they try to they will adjust back really quickly because you don't want your eyes to get dazzled and you won't want to get blinded by the light. So, but if you have a red filter on a torch and you use only red light, the red light does not ruin your night vision. So you can safely use red light, as long as it's not way, way, way bright, of course, and use that to see by in the dark. You switch it off, your night vision should stay exactly the same. It will not have been ruined by using the light. So very useful feature in a military torch. The frontier, the reason this is obviously a Swiss army issue is the symbol here. The crossbow means made in Switzerland. And I don't know anything about this brand, but, well, it says elves, so presumably it is better than orcs and possibly better than dwarves. I don't know. Elvez? Elve? If it's French? I don't know. I don't know anything about the brand. But it's definitely a Swiss design, this one. But for all intents and purposes, this is identical to the one that we had in the Norwegian Navy when I had my some days out in the field during my officers training 20 years ago. It's the same general design. Of course, this has been designed around, this is quite a normal shape and size for a torch because it is based around the battery. I'll get back to that when I open it up. At the back here we have a silicone rubber strap, which seems quite durable, but of course this is going to be a weak spot at some point. Attached with stainless steel lugs here, and also it has an attachment for a button, so you can just clip this onto the button on your uniform jacket, which is very useful. You can just keep it hanging from your jacket as you, if you need the light for something as you run the move and you need to keep your hands free, you can do that. It's got a nice tight clasp holding it together, and inside if you've got the battery, which of course is the standard 3LR6 4.5 volt battery, and this is the main reason why this torch is shaped like this. Or maybe the 3LR6 battery was designed around this shape of torch in the first place, because that could also happen. But in any case, now, because this is a standard battery, it makes sense to keep making a torch in this size and shape to accommodate that battery. A 3LR6 battery is actually very hard to come by around my place. They don't have it in my local shop, and I can get them online, but they are quite pricey. So I decided to instead go with, if I'm able to do this now, an adapter which uses 3 AA batteries, much easier to come by, much cheaper, because you get good quantity discounts and packs and things. And it's got its plus electrode, minus here, and of course this uses an incandescent lamp, which means that it doesn't really matter which way is which. One of the reasons why using an LED lamp for a military torch isn't necessarily the best idea is because if somebody puts in the battery the wrong way, they might break it, unless it has a safety circuit. And in any case, the circuitry on an LED bulb will make it more susceptible to being damaged and stop working out in the field when things are wet and cold and hot and all kinds of conditions. You get sand, it all depending on where you are in the world and what conditions you are operating under. I'll get back to that as well, because I'll show you the switch first of all. So we've got a very strong, very good positive action switch here, which is this brass piece with a ball at the end. I don't know if you can see the ball there sticking out now. So there's a ball with a spring, and it goes like this. So the momentary side of the switch, this side here, you can see there are 2 plastic lobes sticking out of the bulb socket here, and the one on this side is a little bit smaller than the one on the other side. So the one on this side, it doesn't let the ball and the spring rest. It just pushes it back towards the center where it can rest. And the other side, it's smaller, so it actually comes to rest between the lobe and the little sort of brass pipe that makes the contact here on this side. So it's quite a good design for a switch normally, I would say, but this is a military torch, military field torch, and it's meant to be out in all kinds of weather and conditions. This is going to be a weak spot of the design, because if you get water in with a spring, which would be stainless steel presumably, or certainly steel, you will get corrosion eventually, and this switch will, either it will lock up, or more likely it will just not want to stay properly in place. Yeah, so it might at some point only be able to do momentary light, because this is not a good design for protecting the contacts from corrosion. I mean, you can do this, the ones that are exposed here, you can treat those, but this panel and the contact from this electrode to the bulb is on the back of this plastic panel here, which is riveted down rather than attached with screws, which means you can't take this out to clean it, polish it, make sure the corrosion is gone, to oil it properly. You can't do that. So it's not an ideal design for a field torch. Under normal conditions, it probably will last for years, but those weak spots will make it unusable, or certainly make it less good at some point. Which is a bit of a shame, because the rest of the design is actually very good when it comes to accommodating what you need from a field torch. Because the rest of this casing here is very easy to clean. You can even take out the reflector here quite easily. It's just some bent down pins, and you can remove the door if you like. There's just the pin holding the door is actually got a tab sticking out here, and you can just pull it out and make sure there's no rust or anything making the door fall apart, so we can oil the inside of it. Not as necessary, this thing here is not as necessary as the ability to clean and oil the actual switch mechanism, which you can't really do so well here. Bit of a shame, but there we are. So this is a very nice design, very nice switch, but it is a weak spot for a field torch. Anyway, I got this because it was just a little piece of nostalgia for me, having used one in the Navy, and also the red light, which doesn't ruin your night vision, is also quite good if like me, sometimes you need to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, for instance. It is very nice to, you might need some light, but you don't want to get the glare of white light or blue light, because it will wake you up too much and you might find it hard to go back to sleep. So if you use a red light from a torch like this, it is easier to go back to sleep afterwards, and I am keeping this in my toilet for that very purpose. So there you go. I can't think of anything else I wanted to say about this design now. Oh, or this torch. And I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it's really windy outside now. Anyway, maybe the winds are, I don't know, maybe it's 10-mile-an-hour winds, maybe? Who knows? I wouldn't be very fast. It sounds faster than 10 miles an hour. Anyway, that's it. Swiss or Norwegian personal military field torch. Interesting to some of you, I don't know. I think it's an interesting item, and also it is completely random, which is what we like here on Random Things. So, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Thanks for watching, and I hope you will be looking forward to the next episode, whatever it may be about, and I'll see you then. So, goodbye for now.